Hey, welcome back. I was just thinking about this game, like a cool idea. I never thought about it but the first time you play this game as a kid, like I've been playing this for like 2 hours and none of my Pokemon have evolved yet. So like if you're playing this for the first time, I don't know, as a kid like you like hear with other people like, "Oh, this Pokemon can evolve." So like they ruin it for you. But I'm just thinking like if you play this for the first time and you get like 3 hours into it and then you get that screen that's like, uh-oh, someone's evolving. You're like, what? What does that mean? That'd be kind of cool. This game is like, I mean, that is like a unique thing. I mean, think about other RPG games, like evolving. What does that mean? Your Pokemon changes into something else. Like you have Fire Emblem where like you become a different class, but like Pokemon is like a really unique thing. And nobody's really, to me, has been able to like copy it in as good of a way. Get rock, bro. Get rock, bro. And I am one of those people who are like, the recent Pokemon, it's like the same. I've heard it this way where like Pokemon has decided to just keep their games the same and market it to the exact same age. So like every 5 years they'll release a new generation, and it'll be marketed towards like 6-year-old kids, like 6 to 10 or whatever. And then 5 years later, they'll have a new group of 6 to 10-year-olds, and the game will be marketed to those new group of people, and that'll be their first Pokemon game. Because Pokemon is like such a good framework for a game. But as a Pokemon fan, they're not really doing anything for me as I get older. I don't want to play the new Pokemon games because they're all the same. It's weird because you think about like Mario and Zelda, they don't do that. They do new things, and so like as an adult, I can like Breath of the Wild and I can play it. Um, Although you could maybe make an argument that like Ocarina of Time is marketed towards older kids. I don't know. Pokemon's like specifically doing a weird thing where they are only marketing, they're taking the same game and just doing it again with new Pokemon for like a new age of kids. And so for me, I'm like, oh, I'll look at the new Pokemon maybe, but like it's not for me. It's for the younger kids. But like I'll play the new Zelda always because it's kind of marketed to me. They want me to play it. Pokemon doesn't want me to play. um, Pokemon doesn't want me to play Sword and Shield. They want a 6-year-old to play Sword and Shield. And to a 6-year-old, Sword and Shield is their first Pokemon game, and they love it. It's like, oh my god, Pokemon's awesome. And yes, Pokemon is awesome. But I kind of wish that they would, I don't know. Like, you can do that, but then have another team try new stuff. And I think that's kind of what they tried to do with, I've heard about this Pokemon Arcane thing. And like, oh, that's kind of cool and different. But it didn't really appeal to me. But I would play it, like, if I had it here, but I'm not going to buy it. I'd have to hear, like, a Pokemon game being like, oh, this Pokemon game is so new and crazy and awesome, then I would play it. But if they're just like, yeah, this Pokemon game's great, it's just like all the other Pokemon games, I'm like, okay, then it's not for me. I don't know. I was gonna talk about inflation today. A little bit, and then like I was gonna talk about like Christianity stuff too. Ooh. Jacob deGrom gave up 4 runs today, which was that was bad, but it's okay. He'll be fine. Yeah, if his arm is fine. His arm is made out of paper mache, but okay. Yeah, I liked thinking about inflation. Well, today is the Fed day. Every month, or maybe it's every other month, they have a meeting, and Jerome Powell comes out and he's like, we're going to raise the interest rates 75, they call it like basis points, which I think is stupid. Just say 0.75%. We know what that means. You don't have to have a fancy word for it. So they raised the interest rates again today by 0.75%, so it's like 2% or 2.5% or something. They're doing that. So inflation is probably, so this is what I've gleaned, and the not Jon Stewart, the other guy last week tonight, John Oliver. We did an inflation episode, and he summed it up pretty well to my mind. Wait, where do I want to go? I gotta get that rare candy, boy. I think I missed it. Did I get it? Rare candy? Escape rope. Wait, did I get the rare candy, though? It's at the bottom. I think I did. It's down... whatever. There are a lot of things causing inflation, and it's kind of frustrating because we don't really know the percentage. I keep kind of looking for, like, okay, what percent is caused by this, and what percent is caused by this? But, like, even economists seems like they don't know the answer, which is weird. Like, you'd think they have a way to figure that out. They're just kind of guessing. Inflation's high. It's like, oh, it's probably kind of this and kind of this. So, one big reason is, well, it's supply and demand, to be super general about, macroeconomics. So one thing is, there's not enough supply. That's what you hear about, like, the supply chain shortages, and that's because some of it's like Russia stuff. Some of it is also because of the pandemic, like, a lot of places shut down. I did get that. Did I get the rare candy? I don't know how I feel about... Okay, yeah, I did. This, like, whole... Like, oh, you got a pouch here, you got a pouch here. Whatever. Supply. Like, places shut down because of the pandemic, and then they have to, like, slowly build back up. But, like, people are buying stuff more quicker than the companies can build up their supply again. So, supply is low. And then, like, the whole Russia thing with the oil is, like, and also Russia does, like, stuff with grain, and, like, okay, grain prices are going up because Russia's blocking the grain, and we're not buying their oil anymore. So there's the Russia stuff, there's the pandemic stuff, and then there's the demand side. A lot of Republicans will say, like, the demand was boosted because of the stimulus. Okay. And that, therefore, the stimulus was bad. That's kind of stupid to say that. I want to get that number 8. HP up. Okay, let's go in here. Because that's why I don't listen to politicians. Because Joe Biden is like, all of the inflation is because of Russia. And it's like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. And then Republicans will be like, all of inflation is because of the stimulus. That's ridiculous. You're an idiot. All of inflation is because I got $1,200 extra in my bank account. That's stupid. That's part of it. So the reason, it's pretty interesting. Like, this is like a new economic thing that's never happened before. A new like macroeconomic thing that's going to be in your textbooks from now on if you take an economics class, because it's like a new thing that we just learned about. You have a pandemic, everything shuts down. Okay, how does that work? Like, are we just in a Great Depression now because nobody's doing anything and nobody's making anything? Kind of, but we can kind of solve this problem by the Fed first lowering interest rates to zero and increasing their easy money borrowing policy, like just pumping money into the economy. And is this guy gonna kill me? And doing a stimulus, making it easy, like they did those PPP loans or whatever, giving people money, like, so that businesses can kind of stay open for the next 6 months and not have to close, holding off on rent. They did the rent moratorium thing, and stimulus, giving people just like $1,500 or whatever they did to pay their rent and their groceries while they stay home. I mean, it was not enough, but that definitely helped. And from what I understand, like, all those things that we did stopped a total depression. Like, if you look at, I mean, you can look at the GDP is like the better thing to look at, but you could look at the stock market was crashing. And then we did all these things, and we're like, pump money, pump money, pump money. And then it started to go back up. If we didn't do that pump money thing, it would have crashed, and everybody would have lost their jobs. Your 401k would be negative $1 million right now. So that's why economists are like, yeah, the stimulus and all that stuff was good and totally necessary. It had to be done. So Republicans saying, like, that's bad is stupid. Doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he does, but he's like, he just wants people to blame Joe Biden, which is like fine. I mean, we don't like Joe Biden anyway, but whatever. So, okay, that's what happened. Then you get to last December. So inflation during all the pandemic period was really low. Because demand was kind of low, like nobody was leaving. Like, we got the stimulus, but that was just kind of keeping everything level. But the Fed kept interest rates at zero, and so people are now like starting to go back to work, and they have money to spend, and they're spending all their money, but supply is still not catching up. So that's why last December you get, and Jerome Powell called it a supply shock, and I feel like I've heard that before. So when you, in the textbooks, Jerome Powell is like, when you have a supply shock, you don't raise interest rates because that could cause a recession, and supply shock is just like a momentary increase in inflation because of a supply shock, like low supply. Once supply starts building back up in the next couple months, inflation will go back down because supply will catch up to demand. But that didn't happen. So I was thinking about it more, and I was kind of being like, oh, Jerome Powell was like stupid. That's what I said before. Because if you look at the inflation graph, it seems obvious that the moment inflation went over 4%, Jerome Powell should have raised interest rates. And looking back, he should have. But if it was just a momentary supply shock, it would have been bad to raise interest rates too early because it would have cooled the economy at a point where it was not necessary. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand it, why he didn't do it. Although, I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made, like, the interest rates were at zero. They should never really be at zero. That's zero. Like you could just spend money willy-nilly. I don't know. I gotta end after I beat this guy. So what the Fed can do is kind of interesting. Like they can only affect the demand side. They can affect demand by increasing interest rates, and that's what they're doing now. The supply is not catching up anytime soon, so they need to lower demand. They do that by increasing interest rates. But, of course, if they lower demand too much, companies like start going out of business because nobody's buying their stuff, and that causes a recession. That's the whole situation that's happening now. Can Jerome Powell kind of thread this inflation interest rate needle so that we just kind of we wait? Like we get your supply curve. Which one's the supply? Is it this one? I don't know. No, it's this one. And you got your demand. I don't remember. No, demand is this one and supply is this one. And you just kind of he's slowly lowering the demand and waiting for inflation to level off at like 3%. And then he'll stop lowering the demand, and then he's hoping that the demand will stay there and not keep going down. And then, oh no, you've caused a recession. I feel like that's what's happening. I mean, I don't know anything about anything, but that's pretty much what I've heard. He wants to keep employment high, which it is. He wants to avoid GDP dropping too much and causing a recession. He wants to keep the stock market kind of level or to go up. And he wants to do that all. And it's never been done before. And it's one for the textbooks, that's for sure. If he does it well, they'll write about in the textbooks like Jerome Powell. This is what you do. Follow the Jerome Powell playbook for pandemic-ary inflation. There's going to be like new names for this stuff. Like post-pandemic inflation, supply shock, inflation and stuff. Because it's never really happened before. Like where you've had a global pandemic that shut everything down, and then you needed to pump money in, but then you pumped in too much, and now inflation's too high, so now you need to increase interest rates. It's like a really interesting dynamic. But anyway, see you tomorrow.